Listen, y'all don't even want to know how hard it is to film a video when you can't even see yourself in the viewfinder because your contacts decided that they don't want to work. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley and it has been a couple weeks since I filmed a video, maybe 3 to 4 weeks actually. I think the last video I put out was in the beginning of June. I wanted to wait until I could sort of upgrade my camera because I knew I was planning on doing that anyway. So I wanted to wait, and then I had a whole bunch of like huge lifestyle changes right around the same time, and then I also started school right at the same time, so it's been a lot, but I am back and I have a lot better quality, so now you can see me in HD. And yeah, I just want to start off the first video right with bringing to you guys everything I read in June since I wasn't here in June. So this will be my June wrap up, even though we are already in past the first week of July, which is insane. I've got a lot of stuff I want to come out with, a lot of video ideas that I want to come out with. So yeah, we are back on the horse. And let me just say, I don't really know what I'm doing with this camera yet, or even editing wise yet still. It's all like a learning process for me, so if stuff is like changing a lot in the very near and upcoming future, be patient with me. But anyway, let's just get right into the wrap up. So the first book I read in June was Tokyo Ghoul Volume 3. As you can see, I tabbed this one like I usually end up doing with Tokyo Ghoul because there's so much, you guys, there's just so much that goes into this manga series. And I know a lot of people have seen the anime. I personally haven't seen the anime yet. I wanted to read the full manga first because I sort of, like, I watched video reviews and that's what pretty much a lot of them say to do first, which is fine because I would have read the books anyway first. But anyway, if you don't know what Tokyo Ghoul is about, Tokyo Ghoul is about a guy named Ken Kaneki, I'm pretty sure is how you say his last name, and he is human. He starts off the story as human, and that isn't like a spoiler, like you pretty much can figure that out within the synopsis. He starts off as human, and then something happens to where he becomes part ghoul. So this is all about navigating the world between, like, well, both worlds, really, the human world and the ghoul world, and being in between the two. So I read this third one and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. First of all, I love the watercolor covers. I think I said that in my last wrap up where I had read 2 volumes of Tokyo Ghoul in last month, or well, in May. I just love these covers. But anyway, so I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars, just never disappoints. And then next I read Tokyo Ghoul Volume 4, which I also ended up tabbing up. I just, like, I don't know why, it's just become my thing to sort of like color coordinate the tabs. Whatever, it's cute, I like it. So I read Volume 4. We get more characters introduced, which we sort of get every time. We get more ghouls, more abilities, we get a better understanding of the world, and more like subliminal messages, and it's really fun to be able to go back, which is why I tab so much, to be able to go back and sort of like see things that have been foreshadowed, and like, which I still don't really have like a full grasp of what's going on, and I think that's on purpose, but you can still see like little things that are hinted at and you're like, oh, like that makes more sense now. So it really helps to have these tabs. It also really helps to be able to, like, well, not to be able to, but to recognize the fact that, like, Tokyo Ghoul, in my opinion, is not a manga series that you can just like fly through one time and then you're done. Like, no, this is something that you are gonna like read through once and then be like, okay, I need to go back and read that again. You know what I mean? So it really sounds like the second or third time you read the series is when you're really fully going to understand it, which is fine because the story is so gripping and enticing that it's worth it, and I can absolutely see why people would go back and reread this over and over. But enough about Tokyo Ghoul. After that, I really switched gears. I meant to keep going forward with it because, like I said, I have the first 12 volumes already, but after that I switched gears and I picked up Roomies by Christina Lauren. Now this is something I had seen all over for a while, and I was just sort of like in the mood for something fun, which this definitely was. This is about a girl who rides a subway every day, even though she doesn't have to, and she meets a guy who is sort of like a subway performer. Like he plays guitar at the bottom of the subway, like on the platform every day. So she watches him every day, and then her uncle simultaneously own a Broadway play and put that on, and something happens to where they need a new performer, and she goes, hey, I sort of know this guy that I think is amazing, you guys should check him out. So they end up checking him out. He ends up being an immigrant to this country, so he basically is like, yeah, I would love to take this job, but I can't because I'm not a legal US resident. So she ends up offering to marry him. And so that's sort of like what the story is about. Like, are they going to like stay in love? Are they in love? Will it work out? Will it not work out? You know, it was a good time. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. It would be more like a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but it was still really enjoyable. I would definitely recommend for like a light contemporary for the summer. Then the next book I read was First Touch by Laura Lynn Page. This is the first in a duology. I was in a mood in May. I know I said that. I was in a mood to read sort of like new adult romancy stuff for some reason, so I was like following through with that kick. I had picked this up from Amazon, the first and the second one. I really liked the covers. The second one is blue. Anyway, so I picked it up. It's about a girl named Emily who used to be like an escort, and she used to be an escort with her friend, her best friend. What was her best friend's name? For fuck's sake. Amber. Her and her best friend Amber used to be escorts, and she's long since removed from that world. But one day she gets a voicemail from her old friend Amber, who she hasn't spoken to in like 7 to 10 years or something, like a very long period of time, basically saying their safe word. So she's like, oh shit, like she's in trouble. So she goes to try and like track down what she was doing before she called her, and like sort of to see where her life was at so she can figure out what happened to her. And so that sounds like it would be decent, right? Like you're like, okay, like that sounds kind of fleshed out. Like there's definitely some plot. There's definitely like, you know, like a conflict that needs to be solved. And you're like, okay, so like, you know, it's supposed to be like this seedy life that her friend was living, and we're like, ooh, what happened? You know what I mean? No, the shit was trash. I would highly not recommend. I don't know, maybe if I read it at a different time or like wasn't like expecting as much for it. Not to say that my expectations were that high, but it just wasn't. And I feel bad saying like, oh, it was trash, but like it was really not good in my opinion. Like this was erotica, that's what it was, and I wasn't picking this up thinking that that was the case. So because of that, that's why I really didn't like it. I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars, which really would have been like a 1.5, to the point where I actually tried to return it, but I couldn't at that point. By the time I was like, wait, why did I keep this book? I should just return them, because I really didn't like it that much. And I listened to it on audiobook, so it's like still like I never even like opened it really. But anyway, the point is I couldn't return it. I really didn't like it, so I will definitely be unhauling this soon. I would not recommend, but if you want to look it up and you think it sounds interesting and you want like a new adult erotic romance that has some mystery elements with a main character that's a complete dumbass, then you try it out for yourself. That's really all I can say. And so I think from there, what went wrong is why I didn't really record anything else or make any other videos, because that was sort of like Roomies was like, it was fun, but it wasn't like mind-blowing. And then I read First Touch, and that was like really bad. And then I read When Katie Met Cassidy by Camille Perry. This was one of my Book of the Month books. I love the cover. I love Book of the Month. I was so excited to get this, and I got to chapter 14. I got to page 143, and I don't know, like something just clicked, and I was like, this is really boring. And I just got very like, I don't know. I was just sort of like, what now? You know what I mean? I don't know, like, and it sucks because there was Spencer from Mr. Common Spence's Prideathon tag going up right around the same time, and I was like, yes, that is perfect timing. Like I can include this, I'm like in my Pride Month video during Pride Month. Like this is so great. I really liked the book at first, and then it just like it was like good idea, poor execution, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, this was supposed to be like an adult romance, LGBTQ plus book. It's basically about somebody, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's about a girl named Katie who gets dumped by her fiance, and she ends up meeting another lawyer named Cassidy, and it's sort of about them forming this friendship and Katie being like, wait, am I sort of attracted to you? Am I not? And her being like, oh my god, like I don't know what this means. And Cassidy being sort of like androgynous and being like, well, it's cool, like whatever you want, you know what I mean? And then they were sort of like, I don't know, building a relationship but like playing hard to get with each other, and it was just so annoying. And then like they hooked up and I was like, okay, but now what? You know what I mean? Because the scene in itself was so lackluster, and like the plot just seemed so lackluster because like we knew they were gonna get together anyway. And I'm sorry if that's like spoiling it, but like I feel like, I mean, I don't know for sure if they get together because I didn't finish it, but like, because I DNF'd this book, but I just feel like it's like obvious that that's like what's gonna happen. So I was just sort of like, what now? So I just like didn't read anything else until the complete end of the month, and then I devoured this book, and now I am back on the horse, spending too much money on books, too much time reading books, but I'm here for it. That is what I want to be doing with my time, not hating books and having to rant about them. So really, I am sorry if those were spoilers, but I think I'm saving you guys some time with that. But anyway, so the final book that I read this month was The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang, and oh my god. Like, they said it was gonna be good. Like, everybody says it's gonna be good. And it is good, and it was so cute, and it was very, like, I've seen a lot of people compare it to The Hating Game, and it was like The Hating Game, and even the cover and the colors with the blue and the yellow, it was so cute. This one is about a girl named Stella who has Asperger's, and because of her Asperger's, she feels like she doesn't have much experience intimacy-wise, so she hires an escort named Michael, and she basically like eventually asks him to become like her hired boyfriend to teach her how to be a girlfriend, and that's sort of where the story like takes off from. And it is just so, it was so good. Seriously, they were like, Michael was just like the epitome of like sweet and swoon-worthy, and he really like took his time with Stella and was really there for her and really tried to understand her. And it just was like, it was just so gripping, like from start to finish. You're just like, what is gonna happen? Like, I just love these characters. It was just so compulsive, and I loved it. It was so good. I would highly recommend The Kiss Quotient, and I love this hardcover edition from Book of the Month. So if you guys want to check out Book of the Month, I will leave my code for that down below. You get a free book, and I also get a free book, so that's badass. And then you can pick up the Kiss Quotient for free for this upcoming month, and you can check it out and see what all the hype is about. Otherwise, you can buy it in paperback at one of your local bookstores, but it is definitely worth the read. Yeah, 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. So yeah, I know that was kind of short. I only got to 6 books this month, but it was because like, aside from Tokyo Ghoul and then The Kiss Quotient, everything I read in between just like didn't hit the mark for me. But I have got, like, over the last month, I have acquired a ridiculous amount of books, so I'll be doing a haul from that soon. But furthermore, I hope that I will find a lot of new favorites and books I already haven't read on my shelves, which there is an embarrassing amount that I haven't read yet, in addition to picking up some new favorites that were just recently released and that have been out for a while, but I haven't gotten around to picking up. So I'll be doing a haul for that soon, but I'll also have a lot more to read coming up soon. So these are the 6 books I read. Some I would recommend, some I wouldn't. And I really appreciate all you guys watching, and I will see you guys next time.